Hey everyone, and welcome. Get ready, because today we're firing up the time machine for an absolutely incredible adventure. We're going to explore one of the most important inventions in all of human history, writing.
But first, I've got a question for you. I want you to really think about this. Imagine you wake up one morning and poof, all writing is just gone. Every single word, every letter on your phone, every sign on the street. What would you even do? How different would your day be?
I mean, seriously, think about it. You couldn't text your friends. You wouldn't even know how to use your smartphone, right? No more making a shopping list, no reading your favorite joke book. And get this last one, you wouldn't know what a danger sign means. That's kind of scary. Writing is absolutely everywhere, and yeah, sometimes it can literally save your life. Okay, luckily that's not a world we have to live in. So, let's dive in. Everybody buckled up? Good. Because our time machine is all powered up and ready to launch us on a journey to see how this whole writing thing even began.
All right, here we go. Our first stop, the birth of writing. We're going way, way back, from cave walls to carved bones.
So think of this timeline as our roadmap for this whole trip. And whoa, look how far back we're starting. 25,000 BCE. That's when people were literally recording hunts on cave walls. We're going to travel all the way from there, past cuneiform tablets, past Gutenberg's game-changing printing press, all the way to the first email, and even wonder about the future. So let's hit that first stop. You know, the earliest kind of writing wasn't with letters at all. It was all about pictures. Imagine being an early human. You draw on cave walls to tell stories, to show your friends, hey, this is how we hunted that giant mammoth, or this is where we found berries. It was all about passing on crucial info. And these amazing picture stories, they actually have a name. They're called pictographs. Basically, it's just an ancient drawing that uses a picture to share information. It might seem simple, but this was the first huge step on the road to creating the alphabets we all use today. Pretty cool, right? Okay, time machine, let's go. We're jumping forward to check out some ancient writing systems and crack the code of the past. So check this out. In a place called ancient Sumer, life started getting more complicated. You had people trading stuff, and they needed a way to keep track of it all. So they took their simple pictographs, you can see how a drawing of a person becomes a symbol, and turned them into this cool system of wedge-shaped marks. That's called cuneiform. And with it, they could write down everything from how much grain they traded to epic adventure stories.
But that raises a huge question, doesn't it? I mean, archaeologists find all these clay tablets covered in these strange symbols. How in the world did we ever figure out what any of it meant? It's like a super ancient secret code.
Well, the answer came from one single, absolutely amazing discovery, and that discovery was the Rosetta Stone. This thing was a total game changer, and here's why. It had the exact same message written out in 3 different scripts. You had hieroglyphics up top for the priests, another script called Demotic in the middle for everyday folks, and at the bottom, Greek. And since scholars could already read Greek, it was like finding the answer key to a test. They used the Greek to figure out what the other 2 said. That's how we finally cracked the code of Egyptian hieroglyphics. So cool.
And what's super interesting is that not everyone writes the same way we do. We write from left to right, right? But some languages, like traditional Chinese, are written from top to bottom. And others, like Hebrew and Arabic, are written from right to left. There's no one single correct way to do it, which is just an awesome reminder of how diverse our world is.
All right, buckle up again. Next stop on our journey, writing's tech revolutions. We're going from feather pens to printing presses. Okay, so for centuries and centuries, if you wanted a book, you couldn't just go to a store. Nope. Scribes and monks had to copy every single word by hand using a quill pen, which is basically a feather. Can you just imagine how long that would take? It was super slow, difficult work, and it meant that books were incredibly rare and expensive. But then, around the year 1450, this guy named Johannes Gutenberg came along and completely changed the game. He invented the movable type printing press, and this changed everything. All of a sudden, you could make tons of copies of a book quickly and cheaply. It was a massive revolution, and ideas started spreading like wildfire. Hey, you can actually try a super simple version of this yourself. Just ask an adult to help you cut a potato in half. Then carefully carve a letter into it. Dip it in some paint or ink, and stamp it onto a piece of paper. Boom, you've just made your very own potato stamp printer. How cool is that? After the printing press, communication just got faster and faster and faster. Think about it. Sending a letter used to take days or even weeks with something like the Pony Express. Then came the telegraph, which cut it down to minutes. And then, in 1971, the very first email was sent. And just like that, messages became almost instant. Okay, time for our next big jump. Let's imagine writing's future. What comes after the keyboard? You know, it's kind of funny to think about, right? We look back at old quill pens and think they're so ancient. But just imagine, maybe someday, kids in the future will look back at our keyboards and go, whoa, they had to type on those clumsy plastic things? That's hilarious.
Seriously, though, the future of writing is going to be wild. Maybe we'll be writing with wearable computers, like in our glasses or on a wristband. Information could update instantly, right before our eyes. And it's already happening. Technology now makes it possible for pretty much anyone to self-publish their own book, or even write music with a keyboard. The possibilities are endless.
All right, for our final stop on this trip through time, let's have some fun with words. Because writing isn't just for school or sending messages, it's also like an amazing playground for your brain. Have you guys ever heard of a palindrome? It's such a cool concept. It's a word or even a whole phrase that reads the exact same forwards and backward. You know, like the word noon or radar. But my all-time favorite is the sentence, step on no pets. Go ahead, try reading it backward. See, it works. And speaking of fun with words, get a load of this. This is one of the longest place names in the entire world. It's an 85-letter Maori name for a hill in New Zealand. I am not even going to try to say that out loud. No way. So there you have it. From pictures on cave walls all the way to a text on a screen, writing is really the story of us. It's how we've recorded our past, and it's how we shape our present every single day. So as we wrap up our journey, I'm going to leave you with one last big question. What story will you write for the future?